think it goes back to kind of what you said earlier about not being afraid to experiment, right? So, hey, maybe you take 2 weeks where you change nothing else, which again, that's super important to not change 15 things at once because you never know what the good or the bad was that happened from it. But like, hey, take 2 weeks, experiment with a magnesium supplement, see, do you feel better? Right? Are you feeling the positive results from it? Yay or nay? The answer might be no, it might be yes, right? But then evaluate and then, hey, move on. Do you want to adjust it for another 2 weeks? Do you want to try something else 2 weeks after that? Like not being afraid to continually level yourself up 1% at a time, right? And I
Yeah.
feel like there's this expectation we have that if I get 1% better in 2 weeks, it was a total waste, right? You feel like you have to be 35%, 40% better in 2 days. Otherwise, you're wasting time. But what happens is we waste years going in circles that we never actually make the progress. Had we just stayed consistent with that 2 weeks at a time, I think we'd all be way better off. So I love that advice.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Just be patient. Be patient. It took a while to get where you are, and we just have this cultural expectation of instantaneous. If I want to know, my husband, he's very careful about the questions he asks in my general vicinity because he knows that you're like, you don't have to answer it if you don't know the answer right off the top. And I'm like, oh no, I'm researching this right now. Everything's dropping, so because we have the ability to just know things right now. But our body doesn't change instantaneously. And I would say, like, when it comes to experimenting with something, and you want to try a supplement, I do, not to my own horn or anything like that, but we don't know everything, and there's a lot of information out there. Find somebody you trust. I know for a lot of now you can Google, you'll find out that magnesium glycinate is one of the best ones. Magnesium threonate, something that is chelated to an amino acid, is going to be way better and more bioavailable for you for magnesium than something like magnesium oxide, which is what they prescribe to you if you were to get a prescription for it. Very low bioavailability. It's only really good if you're severely constipated because it will clean you out. And if you're not constipated, you don't want to be taking that. That is not fun. Been there, done that. So, but a gentle one, we need glycine. We don't get a lot of it, So magnesium glycinate is really wonderful if you are having a hard time sleeping. And it helps you clear that cortisol while you sleep. What sleep is for. We're supposed to do that. So one of the you know, things that I always like to do is say, hey, take your magnesium an hour before bed. Don't take it in the morning with everything else, right? It's enhancing melatonin. It's enhancing other things and other processes. So it's really ideal to take magnesium glycinate in the evening. If you need more magnesium than that, you can take another kind of magnesium in the morning or in that or at lunch or whatever. But it's very relaxing. Um, Vitamin D, it's a sunshine vitamin. Take it in the morning, right? It's fat soluble. Don't take a dry pill. Yeah, you got to have either it with fat or you have to have it with breakfast or something like that in order to absorb it. So knowing these little tips and tricks about how to supplement is important. So it's not just, hey, I bought this thing that said this thing and then I'm just taking it and then nothing's changing, right? Just taking vitamin D, for example, doesn't mean anything if it's not converting and not measurable in the blood. So the most important thing is if you are supplementing, get some labs done every few months to make sure that it's actually making a change in your body. I made that mistake. I was taking one that looked really great on paper. I was like, this is a good vitamin D. And I took the recommended amount for the day, and I was taking it in the morning with my coffee. And my vitamin D was very low at that time. This is when I first started looking at my vitamin D. I was like 27. It was terrible. And it didn't change. It went up to like 28 a year, like 6 months later. I said, what the heck? So I did some research. I said, oh, duh, right? It's fat soluble. And I wasn't, eating it with food. So I found one that came in fat. It comes liquid. It's and I took a little bit more. And then I added a good quality K2 source, also in fat, because vitamin K is also fat soluble, right? Important to understand that. And when I did that, and then I did my magnesium in the evening, my vitamin D shot up to 80. That's what worked, right? So understanding that just because you're taking a supplement doesn't mean that it's getting where you want it to go, and you can experiment, and it's okay. You didn't waste any time. You learned a thing. It's all right.
Yeah, I love that.